Okay, so we're going to be looking at various ways of applying distortion to layers. So we're going to import a file to begin with. So we're looking at activity 911 files, and it's this puppet image. It's a PSD file, so a Photoshop document, and we're going to bring it in as composition retain layer sizes. And open, and we'll put it on merge layer styles into footage, even though there aren't any layer styles there, and OK. So you'll see in our project panel we now have a folder containing the two Photoshop layers and then the composition with those two in there. So I'm going to double click on the composition to open it, and you'll see that it's this character, this game character. And if I look at my layers, you'll see that the top layer contains the character and the bottom layer contains the background, and that's really important. So the tool that we're going to be looking at is the Puppet Pen Tool, and in order for this to work, what you want to distort has to be separated from its background or in its own layer to begin with. That's really important. So what we're going to do is we're just going to select that layer. We're going to go up to our tools here, and we're going to choose this one, the Puppet Position Pin. Click on it, and we're going to put some pins in this character so we can control him. So we're going to click once on his nose, once on his throat, his shoulders, his elbows, his wrists, his belly button, whoops, do that again, the tops of his legs, his knees, and his ankles. And if you look up on the top here, you've got various options. So if I put mesh on, you can actually see the mesh controlling the pixels. And in this case, because it's quite a clean character, there's not a lot of kind of messy pixels around the edges, I don't have to expand that mesh to include those. But if, for example, this was a bush and there was sort of arbitrary and random leaves around the edges, you might want to expand your mesh to include those. And the density determines how detailed the distortion is, but it also slows things down quite a lot. Now, by default, your puppet tool is basically armed for animation. You do not have to go in and put stopwatches on or anything like that. It's ready to animate. So what we're going to do is just close up this layer and select it. Sorry, I need to select that puppet's effect and close up the layer, and I'm going to just move to 1 second. And then I'm going to drag these pins to repose this character. So let's just say he's saying, whoa, stop, and then whoa, stop, I need to go to the bathroom. Okay, so you can repose the character. It's not going to be very realistic, so the thing with this tool is don't expect to be able to take a character and do a completely realistic reposing. It's mostly for more cartoon style kind of distortions, and it can also be used for a lot of other things as well, you know, reposing trees and clouds and things like that. So it's really quite versatile. But in this case, it works okay. There's just a few things that I can do here. So for example, here where his elbows look a bit weird, I can switch from my position pin tool to my starch pin tool. And I'm going to put a starch pin in here, and you'll see that it kind of sharpens up his elbow. Let me put another one in here. And you can also adjust the settings for that. And then also for his legs, you'll see that the one leg is over the other. Now maybe I want that to be the other way around. I want the other leg to be in front of this leg. So what I can do is go to the overlap pin tool, and I can click on, you see the way you get a little outline of the original pixels where they were. That's what you're going to click on. So I'm going to click on this one, and then I'm going to extend it, okay, so that it takes up more of that area, right? And then I'll put a pin in this side as well, and then you'll see that you have this in front value. So whatever is in front must be a higher value. So if I take this one and I set its in front value higher, it comes in front. Okay, so you can control which one goes in front of the other one. Okay, so have some fun with this just to get used to how this tool works. And once you've finished reposing the guy, I'm just going to click away. Once you've finished reposing him, do a screen grab. Alright, so that's the Puppet Pin tool. The next thing we're going to look at is displacement mapping. So I'm going to import mountain, and I'm going to make a new composition, and we'll just call it displacement, and HDTV 1080-25, and let's make it 10 seconds. Okay, and we'll drag that mountain image down onto here and right click on it, transform, fit to comp. Okay, so what I want to do is create a sort of blizzard effect, like there's kind of a lot of clouds and stuff. So I'm going to right click down here, new, solid. I'm going to call this clouds, and we'll make it black and make full comp size. And then we're going to apply the effect. So right click, effect, noise and grain, fractal noise. Okay, so that's what fractal noise looks like. So what I'm going to do is adjust a few things here. I'm going to go to the transform setting, and I'm going to adjust the scale up to much bigger. Okay, like, let's actually go right up to 750. Okay, I'm going to change the blending mode for that layer to screen. Okay, and then I want to animate the offset turbulence. Okay, so that means it's going to kind of animate across the scene. So I'm going to, at 0 seconds, put this stopwatch on for offset turbulence and change the X value to 0. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the end of my timeline, and I'm going to change that offset turbulence to minus 1000. So if I play that back, you'll see that I've got this sort of cloud effect kind of wisping across the scene. Okay, I don't actually need this stretch details there. And then I'm going to duplicate that layer. So clouds, Command or Control D to duplicate. And then I'm just going to change those settings. So it's going to start at, let's see here, transform offset turbulence. Let's start it at 1000. And at the end, we'll end it at minus 1000. So that means it's going faster. So if I play this back now, you'll see that I've got that sort of, it's called a parallax effect, where one layer's animation is going faster than another, and it creates a three-dimensionality to it. Okay, so let's just go back and play this in real time. Okay, so we've got that kind of like clouds blowing in effect. Alright, so now what we're going to do is make a text layer. So right click, new, text, and I'm just going to call this Blizzard. Whoops. And let's make it nice and big. Okay, and I think the formatting of this is fine. Just white with a blue outline. You can format it how you want, just so long as it's quite prominent in here. Okay, and we'll put Blizzard there. Now what we want is we want the text for Blizzard to be distorted by the clouds as if it's blowing in the wind. So we're going to take this bottom clouds layer, duplicate it, and drag it down underneath the mountain. So it's not really being calculated into the pixels of the scene, but we've got it there to use as a displacement map. And displacement maps always have to be pre-composed. So right click on that bottom layer, pre-compose, let's call it displacement map. Make sure move all attributes into the new composition is on. We do not want to open the new composition. Okay, so we've got that displacement map pre-comp at the bottom now. So I'm just going to go back to 0 seconds. So we're going to go back up to the text layer, right click, effect, and we're going to go to distort displacement map. In the displacement map settings, we're going to choose that displacement map layer over here. Then we need to set what is it that we want to use to displace. We want to use the luminance, in other words the brightness and darkness of the pixels. So for horizontal luminance and for vertical luminance, then we need to change the value. So let's change the value of the horizontal. We don't want too much horizontal, so we'll say 10 for horizontal, but for vertical we want that to be quite a lot. So let's say 120. Okay, so now if I play this back, you'll see that the word Blizzard is being distorted by the light and dark pixels of the displacement map pre-comp layer. So the lighter the pixels, the more it pushes up, and the darker the pixels, the more it pushes the pixels down, and it creates this effect of the text blowing in the wind. Let me just play that back in real time now. Okay, so once you've done this, just pause it at a position where you can see that distortion, do a screen grab of this, and save that as well. So far you've got a screen grab of your puppet, and you've got a screen grab of your displacement. Alright, the next thing we're going to look at is the Liquify Effect. So we're going to import another image called Brick Wall, and we're going to make a new comp, and we'll call this Liquify. We'll keep the same settings. Take that brick wall image, pop it down there, and just right click, transform, and fit to comp. Okay, and we're going to now create some text. So right click, new text, and we're going to type graffiti. I think that's how you spell graffiti. Just check. Yep, it looks like the right spelling. My spelling isn't great. And I want to also do it in caps. So and let's choose a font that's more kind of graffiti-ish. So you can choose whatever you want to. I'm just going to go and find something. Let me take this one. Oh, that looks nice. And let's see. Okay, we don't have a bold option, so I'm just going to kind of make it a little bit more funky, and let's put it in some kind of bright graffiti color. Okay, and change the stroke width, and let's say stroke fill over stroke, and let's change that size some more. Okay, so we've got our graffiti text, and I'm just going to pop this down here, and then also just press R and just rotate it a little bit, and then change the blending mode to let's try overlay. Yeah, overlay looks fine. Alright, so we've got our graffiti. Now what I want is the effect of the graffiti actually dripping down the wall. So with that layer selected, right click, effect, distort, liquify. And liquify opens this whole little set of tools here, and you can experiment with these tools and you can watch the videos on them, but we're just going to use the first one, which is this, I think it's called the forward warp tool, and we need to also change our brush size. So, okay, brush size is, I'm going to set mine to 70. Okay, and brush pressure, I'll leave it at 50. Let me just see what result that has. I need to choose that tool. Okay, and let's see. Okay, I think I need my pressure to be higher. I'm going to double that to 100 and make sure I'm on that warp tool. This tool has been around in After Effects for a long time, and it is, to be honest, quite processor intensive, and it is quite unpredictable. It has a bad habit of crashing your machine, so just make sure you save regularly. If you have a machine with low specs, you might experience some problems. Okay, so what I'm doing is just creating this effect that the paint is running down the wall. Okay. And that hissing sound in the background is the fan on my MacBook going mad because it's using up my processor power. Okay, so I've got the text running down now. Now the value that you really want to be interested in here is this distortion percentage. So watch when I take that down from 100. It's actually animating that distortion, which is pretty cool. Okay, so what I'm going to do is at 0 seconds, I'm going to put the distortion percentage at 0. And put the stopwatch on. Then I'm going to go to 2 seconds. And I'm going to make another keyframe. So I'll just press that layer, press U, so I can see the keyframe, and go to the keyframe shuttle and click on the little diamond. So I've got another keyframe there. Then I'm going to go to 4 seconds. Change the distortion percentage to 100, and then go to 5 seconds and press N to set my workspace to just 5 seconds. And then I'm going to process this. I don't know how long it'll take, but let's see. It's not too bad. Okay, let it play back properly now. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and see you next time.